why he's got heat with B. Brian Blair many times. But to this day, I'll never understand it. Because I can't understand him. I love the Sheik.
It's the Sheiky, baby.
The brother, the Ayatollah, the bastard, Brian Blair, the motherfucker.
You done?
No, he's not.
Oh, he froze.
That's great. Start the show.
Frozen.
Start the show.
The show has started. Welcome to Rat Salad Review. And here
no intro
is the intro.
With your hosts, Wayne Newman, Greg Narlow, and Lou Max.
Welcome to Rat Salad Review. Oh, you unfrozen now?
Yeah, I switched internet servers, so I'm good now.
Oh, very good. And Manny, you're back. Did you get your drink?
I got my drink.
You're gonna need a lot more than that talking these fucking albums.
And James, I saw you were eating before. Are you all full now and ready to go?
Oh, that wasn't eating. That was me trying to get my cat through the door because he was yelling at the door.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Well, how is everybody doing? Doing good?
Doing good.
As well as we can
Great.
after listening to this fucking shit.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Lou, did you do anything cool this weekend?
No. Anyway.
No? I didn't either.
Oh, you mean did I go see Ghosts with you at the UBS Arena? Yes, I did.
Yeah, you
did.
motherfuckers. You guys missed Spirit Box? What the fuck?
We missed Spirit Box and we caught the last song of Mastodon.
Which was fun by me.
But Ghost was amazing. Well, I had a family event prior to that I couldn't just leave. So we got there in time for the last song of Mastodon. House lights go on, getting ready for Ghost. And we're like, Jesus Christ, like 40% of this arena is empty.
There's like nobody there. I'm like,
what?
They just like all out in the.
It was like 40% of the arena was empty.
Seriously?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was apparently more people there than there were at the Scorpions concert Wednesday night, supposedly. But there's definitely more people than were there at the Scorpions concert 20 years ago at Nassau Coliseum that I went to with Whitesnake and Dokken. But Ghost delivered. They delivered, opening with Kaisarion and going into Rats and, playing a good chunk of songs. Of course, they played Conclave con Dio. There was a great, spoiler alert, there was a great resurrection of Papa Nell doing saxophone. And that was pretty cool. And they played about 2 hours, it was.
Yeah. Yep.
So do you think it's just because the crowds that go to the Nassau Coliseum or the USBC or whatever you call that now?
UBS.
Whatever. The other island arena. Is it just that they don't freaking fill that place out if it's not an Islanders game? What's up with that arena that makes them not fill that place up?
I personally think more people went to the Live After Death tribute show, the Iron Maiden tribute show that was happening at 89 North, because whenever they play, all the metalheads go there. All right, listen, I'm going to get a lot of flack for saying this, and I don't really care. I realize that this is a very one-sided argument that I'm going to say, because in the macro, nobody really gives a shit, but in the micro, I'm calling out all the fans of metal on Long Island. All you people do, and yes, I refer to you as you people, support bands. All you do is you support bands who are playing music that has been around since the 60s, 70s, and 80s. All you do is go see tribute bands and cover bands. You're living life like it's still 1989 at L'Amour's in Brooklyn. Get out of your bubbles. There are other great bands out there that are brand new that deserve your attention and your money and your fandom. Okay, I'm not knocking Live After Death. Nick Trotty is a great friend of mine, and I'm very happy for he plays the Dave Murray role. Looks like Dave Murray too. But anyways, like they do a great job of playing Maiden, but it's like but I'm just telling the fans on Long Island, step outside of the realm of cover and tribute bands. Go support original bands, especially if they're from your neighborhood. Because if you don't support them, if you don't give them a following, nobody will. Rant over.
On that word, Severed Angel Band, go hit subscribe. Follow.
Yeah, hit subscribe. That video was really good. Actually,
Thanks,
no. I'm gonna be nice about this. I'm gonna be nice. Lou, your guitar solo was absolutely very well done.
Fantastic.
Everybody was great. I mean, even Wayne was playing well, even though he looked like he had fucking taken 8 bottles of Robitussin prior to playing. I mean,
I was trying to just
coma patients have more life than you do. All right,
you watch my other videos. I wasn't trying to do that.
You look fucking bored.
Not in my other
Wait
videos.
till you hear the album. Wait till you hear the album. You'll hear some sick drumming from Wayne. All right.
I'm excited. I'm ready for it. But
Wayne,
man, you look bored.
No, not bored. I just
he may look bored in the video to you, but on the album, there's nothing lifeless about it. Wayne, hands down, I got to put you over. One of the best drummers that I ever played with. So good shit.
I think it's a good collection of bands. I think like the singer, his voice worked very well with the song. Didn't try to overdo it. Obviously he sounded better than Tobias because, well, Tobias is not the best singer in the world. He's more of an entertainer. Yes, I agree, Manny. He's kind of shit at singing, but it's just, I think it's a well-rounded group there, and I think you guys have something there with a really good cover and a really good starting music video there.
The cover is only the beginning. Wait till you hear the original songs.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original stuff.
I mean, I'm gonna go on record and say that I mean, every time I've been a part of an original band and we recorded
I am
something,
really looking forward to hearing your originals.
Thank you. It's never gotten to the point that we just completed with the recording of the Severed Angel debut. I'm beyond proud of it. I can't wait to share it with the world. Kudos, my friend Wayne. Good stuff.
Yeah,
and by the way, James, I am rocking the great state of Tennessee today.
Yes.
Wearing my white
Our
chapel
great
tee.
Knoxville. Our Knoxville boys.
And welcome, Leo. What's up?
By the way, this December they will be playing at the Mike and Mill in Knoxville, doing their annual tribute show for charity for Young Williams Animal Shelter. So there's that.
Very cool. And welcome, Mark, to the show in the group chat here. So everybody, if you're watching the show live, please join the chat here. I'll try to get to you as soon as I can. But my take on the Ghost show, it was really good. I did see them like when they were first coming out and like one of their first shows to New York, and it was a different band back then. I like the band now; it's cool, but it's not really a band anymore. It's kind of an act. It's all big shoe, but they still put on a pretty good show. So
a big shoe, Ed Sullivan.
Big shoe,
the big show.
So it's a little different. So I was kind of bothered by the only person you really saw on stage was the guitar players and Papa. You didn't see the drummer. There was a lot of smoke, a lot of other band members you couldn't see. So I would like to see more lighting on some of the members.
Well, I mean, let's face facts. They're there for the enhancement of the
right.
Yeah.
They're the backup.
You did see the bassist a lot, I mean, he was
the bassist cool. and there was another guitar player like in the back corner. I didn't even like.
Apparently that guitarist is he's a multi-instrumentalist, so he doesn't just do guitar, he does other things. But Ghost had 3 guitar players on stage, but
crazy.
You only saw Ether, who had the black Explorer looking guitar, and Dewdrop, who's got the Fender Strat with the Floyd Rose bridge.
Yes, Piper Niven, yes.
I had no idea she was in Ghost. All right, before we get on the show, did you buy anything this week? Anybody?
I had an air show to do, so all I did was have to confiscate tobacco products and really mad senior citizens cursing at me for taking said products, even though there was big giant signs saying "Don't bring that stuff in here." to it, and people bringing knives into a military base. Not to bring weapons into a place like that, correct?
I would assume so. Yeah, I don't bring knives with me in general. So,
you know how many times I had to turn people around to put knives back in their cars, trying to be polite about it.
Well, you are down south too, so
Well, I mean, like they can't even carry like a Swiss Army knife on them.
No, we told them no knives whatsoever. It was big giant signs said no knives, no tobacco products.
What if they had a switch blade comb?
Doesn't matter. I'm freaking taking that shit.
Oh, you keep it for yourself. Got it. Okay.
No, I'm confiscating the shit out of that. I'm dunking the hell out of that. Some
Uh,
dude blew vape freaking cloud in my face. I grabbed his vape and dunked it right in his face.
Manny Leo says he hopes to see you in Tampa at the Maiden gig. Are you going to Maiden? Manny.
Yep, Manny's on
Manny.
a delay.
Manny, can you hear
Shit.
me? Manny.
Manny, did you hear us?
Manny.
No, he can't. He
Manny.
can't hear us.
Manny.
Manny can't. Manny. Oh, I will tell you this right now. I will be not going to the Iron Maiden concert.
No, I keep freezing up. So
Oh, there you go. You're better now. Looks
I
like
may
you're
have to
okay.
leave the meeting. All right. Well, no, it's fucking up.
I don't know.
Well, before we go on, are you still going to do that Dave Holland tribute album, Wayne, that you've been
Yeah.
Oh my god.
dying to do?
Yes, I am. Yes, and if anybody needs any lessons, just come over and we'll take care of
No,
that.
no. Don't do that invite. Don't
What?
do that invite.
What?
Yeah, don't.
That's what got it. That's what got Dave Holland in
Oh.
trouble in the first place.
All right, then never mind. So Leo wants to know, Manny, if you're going to go see Maiden in Tampa.
The answer is yes.
All right, so Leo, you will see Manny in Tampa at the Maiden gig. Actually, Maiden's playing here too, October.
At the same
Yeah.
place we saw
The same
Ghost.
place we just saw Ghost. Yeah.
I'm sure they'll pack that.
I think
yeah,
a lot
I'm
of it
sure.
has to do with economics too, because a lot of shows that sell out over here haven't been selling out. Rod Stewart, Steve,
No, he's frozen again.
none of those have sold out. Tears for Fears, and the Dave Holland tribute show has definitely gone bust over here. So am I freezing up?
Yeah,
Little
you
bit,
froze
a
up a
little
little bit there.
Fuck me.
Go move to your other
No,
room.
you keep
What's
going. Yeah, go to your other room.
Well, somebody else actually brought up a good point. A musician actually read it on
All right, let me
Blabbermouth,
leave and
All right.
Yep.
and they said that the reason why shows aren't selling out because everybody's coming around like a week apart from each other.
Mhm.
So
Fuck
I'm like,
Blabbermouth.
that could be a good reason. You
Could be.
know, I mean,
Cause it's
don't
over.
forget this Ghost tour is a postponement of what was supposed to be 2 years ago. So,
Ah.
but
Mark
it
says,
was a great show.
Mark
Sorry.
says, James, as an Army veteran, as long as the weapon and ammo are in separate compartments, they can be taken on base as long as the MPs know.
This was an air show with over 50,000 people there, boss.
All
Little
right.
different situation than an active
We all meet.
military base. And yes, I understand that that's true. However, I don't think they had enough security forces because I'm Air Force. I will not use the peasant's term of military police. We did not have enough there to be able to handle an armory properly enough.
All right,
So-
good enough.
Obviously, you would not be able to handle security at a Ripper Owens solo show. Is what you're telling me.
Probably would not want. Well, actually, yeah, I might actually go see
Distinction
that. Actually, shock that, you know. But no, I wouldn't be wanting security for that. No way. Well, actually, no, you might be good security there because, like, I mean, everyone there's gonna be old enough to that if I tackled them, they'd break a hip. So probably a little
No.
bit more.
Leo says new Ghost is their version of Hysteria. Tell him he's wrong. I can kind of see that.
I kind of see that actually. Yeah. I never thought of it that way, but
Yeah, but yeah.
Somebody
Really?
just recently referred to Ghost as the new Kiss. And I'm like, I don't think that comparison is wrong or far
don't-
off.
no, I can see. Look, Ghosts are definitely influenced by those 70s bands. Kiss, Blue Oyster Cult, I guess Def Leppard, even though they're not 70s. I don't know. Who else do you guys can think of?
Yes.
I mean, I don't think they sound like any of those bands, but
No, they don't.
Well, no, I mean in terms of like
Theatrics.
Let me leave-
the path they've taken. Like, Ghost started as like, a small based band and then have kind of like been blowing up into what they are now, which is a spectacle. I mean, I love the band. I love the new album, but it's spectacle, it's and that's okay because that's what Tobias wants. So, I think he's at his dynasty period. I think he's soon going to release his music from the Elder album.
I
Wow.
hope so. Lou says,
But I love that period
Lots
of the
Ava.
band, James. I love old
Me
Kiss.
too. Me too. Speaking of Kiss, but this has nothing to do with it. I got the new Megadeth album and
Oh,
the new
okay.
Ozzy album.
I bought those too, but they're over there.
Yeah, and the new what's his name? Usagi Yojimbo from
Usagi Yojimbo. That's cool.
it's
Yeah,
cool.
the new-
I've been
yeah,
wanting
the-
this one. Really cool.
Very nice.
That's all I got.
A Ronin bunny.
I got a few
rabbit.
things, but
It's awesome.
the only thing I have out that I got in the mail today was
Oh,
speaking
that's a
of
good
Iron
one.
Maiden, Blaze Bailey's solo album, More
That's a
Within
good
Me.
one.
I've never heard it, so heard good things about it. Had the right price, so I grabbed it. Anyway, so
Very cool. Yeah, it is a good. I've heard some of the songs. I have it, but I haven't listened to the whole thing. But it is very good.
you're
Whatever.
different than me. I can't file something away till I've listened to it at least once. It's just one of those
I
quirks
got
of me.
filed away for years.
You're insane, man. You're insane.
I know. I got carried away a little bit. What else you got?
It's over there, but I got the
Oh, I
same
thought
thing you
said
did.
something.
Ozzy Osbourne, Megadeth. I didn't get the new Kiss. There's a new Kiss live album, sound. what is
Oh
it
yeah,
called?
yeah.
Is that the Soundboard series, guys? Is that
Soundboard,
what
It's a
it is?
soundboard series.
Yeah,
It's on
1977.
Apple Music.
show.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll be getting that.
Yeah, I have
too
a
at some point.
bootleg of it, but I'd like to have an official. Anyway, so
Yep. All right. Judas Priest versus Iron Maiden. Let's begin. We will start with Judas Priest. Demolition. Demolition is their 14th studio album. It is the second and final studio album to feature Tim Ripper Owens on vocals. Following the mixed to positive reviews to Jugulator, the band scrambled to assess what exactly went wrong and determined that fans preferred a sound more faithful to Priest's back catalog. The resulting album would be Jugulator-style riffs, references to 80s Priest, and new metal additions such as samples, down-tuned guitars, rapping, and industrial-style beats. Man, that just makes me want to listen to that album. While the
I guess not a big Fear Factory fan, are we?
No, I actually am.
damn.
I am. I do love Fear Factory. But you don't want to hear Fear Factory Judas Priest. While the aim was to offer something something for every possible fan, in the end, the album received a much poorer reception than Jugulator by most fans. Owens has stated that Demolition was his favorite album that he did with the group, claiming it had better vocals and more melody than Jugulator, which I do agree with. And then on this album, many of the songs are written solely by Tipton, with contributions from Downing on several songs. Former producer Chris Sanderides, who co-wrote A Touch of Evil and Painkiller, also assisted in the writing of a few songs. And
continuing, I'm gonna try my phone.
Okay, you're fine now.
No, he's not.
No, he's not. Drummer Scott Travis co-wrote Cyberface. It's his only contribution to writing in the band's history.
And he should stay like that.
Really?
Ouch.
The only other drummer to contribute was Les Binks. This was the first album since Painkiller to feature a guest appearance by keyboardist Don Airey, who played on A Touch of Evil. And in an interview, Tipton had this to say about Demolition. People will wonder if a new Priest album is as good as any of the 15 that came before it. Tipton acknowledged, I'm very confident that I'm very confident they'll think this one is. It has some manic hooligan tracks like Machine Man and Bloodsuckers, as well as typical Ripper song and Jekyll and Hyde. I don't know about that. So anyway, about the album, I know Glenn is going through some health issues and everything, and I had no idea he suffered from hearing loss in the year 2000.
Wow.
That's news to me too.
Wow. That's a poor joke. That's a poor taste there, Wayne.
Lou didn't get it. Lou didn't.
Never mind, I got it now.
I understood that reference immediately.
I knew you did. So finally, we make it to Demolition, the album that most fans hate in their entire discography up to this point. After listening to it for this show, I will say maybe I was wrong about there not being one song I liked on this album, because there's actually a few. So I kind of agree with you, James. Maybe. We don't know about what you're going to say yet. Again, nothing on here reminds me of Judas Priest for the most part, which is funny because, they were talking about they kind of wanted to go back to the 80s Priest sound. And I didn't hear none of that really. Maybe one song. Might be some sounds here or there or whatever. But for the most part, it's all kind of all over the place. One thing, though, the guitar solos are back. Nothing mind-blowing, though. As far as the album goes, 1 minute I'm hearing something that could be like a White Zombie song like Subterfuge, then a song that could be something like from Alice in Chains, like Lost and Found. Cyberface could kind of be like the modern metal gods almost. And maybe I could take back that there's nothing on here that would remind me of early Priest. Feed on Me does have a bit of a classic Priest like feel to it, especially in the chorus. And then there's other songs like Hell is Home and Close to You that I actually like. Production wise, yes, I think it's very muffled and unfinished sounding, but maybe it isn't as bad as I remembered. There's definitely a lot more variety in this album than there was on Jugulator. Then everything works, but not everything works well, but I could probably respect this album a little bit more now for them trying to do more Priest-like songs. Did they do that? Not really, but they did bring back guitar solos and some melodic elements, and each song sounded different. So maybe a lot of people really need to revisit this album. I think this. I appreciate them trying to get back to like Judas Priest sounding stuff and trying to add some new elements in there and making different sounding songs, because Jugulator was sounded like almost every song sounded the same. I think. You know,
I can agree with that.
You know, there was good songs. I like the album, but I think this one gave them a little bit more variety, maybe a little bit too much variety. Because I'll look in the chat for what Greg had to say about this album later, but I don't think that was a bad thing.
So I texted you guys in the group chat earlier this week saying, if this album was made by a band not named Judas Priest, I feel like it would have gotten a lot warmer reception. Yes, is the ending really clunky? Absolutely. I think Lost and Found, Cyberface, and Metal Messiah and Subterfuge are all kind of, they don't flow very well. They're very clunky. I'm not the biggest fan of Subterfuge, Lost and Found, and Cyberface. I think Metal Messiah, I felt like that was like a dope, like I could hear like, okay, I think Dope could do a better version of that song. Or I would hear that. I like Dope though. Like One on One, Hell is Home sounds like Alice in Chains. Like I was like you were here. I heard White Zombie. Heard a little Pantera with like, I think it was In Between or Feed on Me sounded a lot like Pantera during that Vulgar Display of Power era. I think it's not a bad album. I actually enjoy this sound, like how they detune the guitars and everything. I actually enjoyed the sound of the album way more than some of their other albums, especially like Stained Class and stuff like that. I like the sound better. I think it feels, I guess because that's just how I grew up. But I actually didn't mind the album. I know it catches a lot of shit, but I don't blame Ripper Owens for singing the songs. I think he did a really good job. The songwriting is bad. It is very bad. The lyrics suck. I will admit that. Not as bad as another album we're going to talk about later on, but it's not. I mean, yeah, it's kind of clunky. I think once you get past Feed on Me, it gets really clunky really fast. It starts losing its steam.
Oh yeah.
Until you get to Metal Messiah. Then I think it speeds back up. But it has some flaws. I don't think they're as deadly as some other albums they've done, but it's not their best work.
No, definitely not. And there'll be another album soon that a lot of people hate as well, but I don't want to talk about that one yet. And the thing about Priest's production, to me, they've always had like wonky production. I mean, it's always been kind of like, yeah, some albums are cool and some albums sound like demos, and some, they always have something going on with their production. It's always weird.
Lou.
Yeah,
normally I'd let Manny go first, but since Manny is
he's trying to get his
I'm in.
He's trying to get his shit together.
He's trying to get some phone calls from people because his number's on the screen.
All right, so I'll go ahead. So James, to not to counter
call that
no, not to counter the point that you were made before, that if there was any other band other than Priest that released Demolition that they would think it was a good album. That being said, let's talk about the new metal albums, brand new, that came out in 2001. Yeah, Seven Dust's Animosity.
This was in 1998. Though.
No, this is 2001. Demolition.
2001. I thought this was 98.
No, Virtual 11 was 98.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
So you had Seven Dust Animosity. You had, even though they were a hardcore band, but this album was kind of dwelling into new metal territory, you had Vision of Disorders from Bliss to Devastation. You had Stains Break the Cycle. Those are three. You had Fear Factory's Digimortal. Those are, and you had Slipknot's Iowa. So those are, how many albums is that I just listed? Four. Okay. Those are 4 albums that were considered under the new metal umbrella that I could say were a better representation of what the genre had to offer than this album. So whether it was Judas Priest or somebody else, I don't think this would have been a good album. That being said, I prefer Demolition to Ram It Down. I actually think it's a better album than Ram It Down. Ram It Down had 1 song that I liked. This album actually had 3. And I'll tell you what they were. They were One on One, albeit it's total dunderheadedness, but I did like that song. Hell is Home and Bloodsuckers. So I will admit that those 3 songs, Ace, Priest, loved it.
Oh wow. Okay. So sorry. Trying to go with your original point there with 2001. You also had Flaw Through the Eyes come out.
That was a good one.
You had Toxicity come out from System of a Down.
Mm-hmm.
You had Sinner from Drowning Pool.
That was a good one.
And you had Revolution from El Nino.
That was okay.
I like El Nino. So and
El Nino, I'll give them respect. You know, they're definitely good.
And you had Life from Dope.
Not a Dope fan. And by the way, also you had Slayer's last perfect album, in my opinion, that came out that year, which was God Hates Us All. And and then you also had oh man, I just
did
had it in my
Halford's
head.
album, did Halford solo album come out the same time too? The same year?
That came out. Whose solo album? Tipton?
Halford
came out in 2000.
So
yeah, Resurrection came out in 2000. But anyway, to the point that I was making, I don't fault Ripper Owens for this album being the way it is. Again, if anything, he's the shining point, him and Scott Travis on drums, you know, and I'll have to give credit to Ian Hill as well, because they are a really good rhythm section.
That's funny you mentioned that, because I did notice there's a lot more bass stuff on this album, a lot more, because Ian Hill's always buried in the background and doesn't really do that much, but I heard a lot of different things going on in the bass.
Mm-hmm. So to me, the problem with this album, instead of growing on what they started with Painkiller and continue with Jugulator, I just feel like they released an album that was totally uninspired. It was just Glenn Tipton trying to like shit out whatever he could. And I know Priest has followed trends in the past, Turbo being a perfect example. And Turbo was successful in my opinion. Subterfuge sounds like the things I don't like about new metal. The only thing that would make it worse would be Tim Owens rapping. Oh wow, he does do that on Metal Messiah.
That was pretty bad. Yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't great.
And to quote a great British character, Edmund Blackadder, utter crap. But all in all, definitely not a step up from Jugulator, but a step up from Ram It Down, in my opinion.
Very interesting. Do you think they were trying to compete with Fight?
If they were, they failed, because Fight is a completely different beast than this album is. And I prefer War of Words to this. I would compare this to the 2 Voyeurs records, so I would shelve them.
Wow. Yeah, Lou, you really didn't. Yeah, I mean, I understand it, and you know, you make a lot of sense. I was actually reading a lot more. There's a whole other. 2001 actually had some really good releases, so I understand what you're saying. I just think that it would. I mean, I don't think it was I don't think it was the worst Judas Priest album ever. I mean,
I didn't. I thought Ram It Down was worse so far.
So I know there's a lot of people who universally shit this one, and I don't think it. I think some of the performances, like Ripper Owens is, you know, singing, shouldn't get shit on for this.
Ripper is a good singer.
He's a good singer, and this album has nothing to do with him. Honestly, it's not his fault. He didn't play the guitars.
He's singing the lyrics that were given to him, and too bad
that's his
are
job.
shit. Too bad those are shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between being hired to replace a singer like Dickinson did for Diano. There's a difference where you're hired to do a job and you do the job and you have no input. So
He did the job.
Oh yes, jabroni.
Mark Burchett says only Priest album he didn't like were the Ripper Owens years, and his first Priest concert was Hell Bent for Leather. They opened for Kiss.
So out of 1 out of 2 albums, I mean, you're saying that Ripper Jones, it's 2 albums, all right. So just say this one's your least favorite Ripper Owens album. It's do the same thing.
Seems like Ripper has this trend where after every second album he gets kicked out. It happened with Iced Earth. It happened with Yngwie Malmsteen.
That is true. He does say he's great in KK's Priest, so he does like Ripper. He just doesn't like the Priest albums. Manny, are we doing okay now?
I don't know. Let's find out.
Seems like you're doing great.
All right, let her
ahead.
rip.
All right,
Godspeed,
Demolition,
sir.
I think is a real shitty album. Let's just get that out of the way. I don't like it at all. First of all, I've heard Judas Priest get accused of following trends, but they have really followed trends on this one. What was that description you read there about wanting to sound traditional? Yes, because when I listen to Judas Priest, I've always wanted to hear what Judas Priest would sound like pretending they're Fear Factory. Well, it turns out they're pretty bad at it. The lyrics are terrible. Musically, these guys are not writing from the heart. They're writing for the wallet, which is fine, but not in this case. It's just terrible.
And we lost him again.
And we lost him. See, bad take. The internet's helping him from his bad take.
It's probably Tim Ripper Owens on the other side cutting his cable.
I think Jane
And
Andrews.
the artwork is just as bad.
Oh, he's back.
Oh, you're back. What were you saying before the artwork thing?
See, there he goes. See,
The artwork.
He's saying bad. He's saying bad things. His internet's punishing him for a bad take.
Tim Ripper Owens is outside your house right now playing with your cable.
He probably is, that son of a bitch. But basically, I don't like the album. I think it's terrible.
So, Manny, what do you think about the album?
Sucks.
How do you really
Horrible.
feel?
Shit.
Uh,
Crap.
Do you think this sounds traditional like the way old outhouses do?
I think the only thing this goes back to is a used porta-john getting blown back in.
Oh, by the way, James, another good album that came out in 2001, Rammstein's Mutter.
I did not
trying
see
to be
that on there, but
objective.
I will agree with you. I'm looking at the list.
Trying
and
to
I
be
did not see that one.
objective. No, it sucks.
It's
Leo
valid,
says
sir.
Leo says KK's Priest is a good album, much better than the Priest albums with Ripper.
KK's Priest is a good album. Unfortunately, it also features shitty lyrics.
Yes, it does. No, we can't do nothing about that, can we? And we also can't do anything with Manny's connection.
I
Nope,
feel
nope, we can't.
so bad for it. Is there like a is there a thunderstorm happening in Miami right now?
It's another album that came out in 2001 that I really like, Double X by Mushroom
Oh yes,
Head.
I do like the hat, and he is in the chat. Gingolo, he is from the band Ashes Rain right here, and I got a hat from them.
And Morning View from Incubus came out the same year too.
No, he's not in that band, but he's in Ashes Rain, and go to Ashes Rain.
You know, like
Go buy the
Hackatooey.
CD. Go buy the Ashes Rain CD. Very good album. All right. Want to move on to Maiden?
Science is my Incubus album.
Science is a better Incubus album. You are correct. Anyway,
Yeah, it is a
let's get on to this fucking shit show.
Iron Maiden.
Wait, shouldn't we read Greg's review?
Oh yes.
Demolition?
All right. Just chatter amongst yourselves so I can find it.
It's gonna
Greg
take a
gonna
minute.
come on,
We had talks about it, but yeah,
Rhubarb.
Obviously the man who gave this idea doesn't show up. So I mean, I'm expecting Manny to not be at any of the Alice Cooper things, or. So Ben makes the idea. We have like fucking 40 fucking albums here. He's been here for like 3 shows. No, not trying to hit on him. I know he's busy. I know he has some shit he's dealing with, but my God.
All right. I got this thing. Demolition, 0 out of 10. Priest's worst LP. Songwriting is weak and awful. Almost every tune is in a different style than the others, and no real symmetry to the LP.
Okay.
I wouldn't use demo for a coaster. Every note on that album is trash. And James, he tells you you're nuts. He means Virtual is Maiden's second worst, no doubt, but not as bad as Demolition for him. And he says you guys need hearing aids if you think that shit.
That's me. That was me.
And Greg says I actually had to sit through that torture, so I just want to make sure everyone knows my ranting, and it gets properly trashed. Oh, my rating. Sorry. Virtual 11 is bad. Demolition is a crime against humanity.
Just keep going, because I mean, I got another. My next line is if you're gold. Virtual 11 is a fucking abortion. So let's get to Virtual 11.
Let's get to Virtual 11. We know how Greg feels about it, about Demolitions. Virtual 11 is the 11th studio album by Iron Maiden. It is the band's second and final album with Blaze Bayley on vocals. It also marks the first album to utilize a slightly modified logo with the letters R, M, and N, the same size as the other letters, as opposed to them being extended. I got some things going on in the chats here. All right, good. Keep talking in the chats. Virtual 11's is tied in with two extra musical events: the release of the band's computer game Ed Hunter, and the fact that the 1998 FIFA World Cup would be taking place in June of that year. Harris explains, we figured our fans are pretty much the same as we are, with pretty much the same interests. So we thought, it's a World Cup year, 98. Let's get the football involved in the new album. And we were already working on a computer game at that time, so we thought, well, let's bring that element into things too. Prior to the album's release, the band organized a publicity tour in which they held football matches across Europe with guest musicians and pro footballers from the UK.
I'm not going to call it football here. That's fucking soccer. Make a better album and I'll call it football.
It is soccer. And in the album booklet, they took a picture with a bunch of soccer players. No idea who they are. So my thoughts on the album, I like it. Not as much as X Factor, but I think the band started to get a little more comfortable with each other by this point. You can hear it in Blaze's voice. There's a little bit more oomph, except really for when he has to repeatedly say, "Don't you think I'm a savior?" over and over and over and over again in Angel and the Gambler.
22 times.
You counted?
Did you count
You
that?
counted?
You sick You sick
Yes.
fuck. You sick fuck. You sick fuck.
I
Hold
just
on,
don't
let
get
me
it.
bring a fluorescent light tube over my head and eat the shards.
I just don't get why somebody didn't say, okay, enough. Why is this going on for this long? I really like this song, but it's just way too long. No reason at all. It should have been
Because
chopped
no one
down
tells
to
Steve
4 or 5
Harris what to
minutes and
do.
done. Come on.
Obviously, someone needs to. He fucking was terrible at this.
But that's also the problem with a lot of these songs. They're mostly very long, which is why there's only 8 songs on the album. But like I said, I do like most of it. Future Real is great, being pretty fast-paced, kind of similar to Man on the Edge. The Klansman, another great song, which they actually play live now from time to time. I also like when Two Worlds Collide. I like how the song builds up, and also the chorus is catchy. Don't Look Into the Eyes of a Stranger, pretty decent as well, as Como Estas Amigos, which again, another catchy chorus and some catchy guitar melodies. The rest of the songs aren't terrible, but some of them really suffer from just being too long for no reason. The album is more upbeat than X Factor, but unfortunately the songs just don't deliver as well. But I do enjoy the album for what it is. Leo says, Virtual 11, Klansman turned out to be a great song with Bruce and Adrian. I don't really hear any difference. Also, Angel and the Gambler, worst Maiden song. I don't think it's
Yes, it's been the worst Maiden song to this time. You can't get away with saying that 22 fucking times in a row.
If he
and
didn't
not fucking get crowd for it. That was shit.
It makes Invaders and Duelists sound like Hallowed Be Thy Name.
But if he didn't repeat those spots over and over again, it would be better, right?
No.
It's only bad because
it's still a fucking shit song.
I like the song.
You
that
you sit there in your
Hoog
wrongness.
keyboard thing.
Oh yeah,
That it drives me ape shit.
I think it's a harmonica, isn't it?
No, it's a keyboard.
Harmonica's an Iron Maiden album. What's wrong with you, Wayne?
I don't know. They're just
God bless.
They had they didn't know what to do at that point. And also in the beginning of that song, I think it's like one of the lines. It sounds like it says, "I love your hand jobs." I don't know if anybody ever noticed that.
Yeah,
That's what it sounds like he says.
Good thing I listened to it objectively.
Andrew Peters, he agreed. The Klansman is the best song on the album. Live with Bruce on. Well, see, yeah, it is a good song. Leo, Two Worlds Collide is a fantastic song. Wish they would do it at the main show now. And there you go. Lou, go ahead. Actually, you know what? Screw you. Go, Manny, before your connection goes bad again.
Yes, Manny.
Manny, do this before I fucking slice it up. Go.
Yes, you, Manny.
Yes,
Manny.
that Manny.
I keep freezing up here. So
We should put on a jacket.
Get a heater.
yeah, I should live in a different state or a different house.
Or pay your cable bill.
No,
Oh.
fuck that. What's wrong with you guys? Jeez. I can't even afford the sleeves for my shirts, and you want me to pay for everything?
You gave your review already.
You start the review, goddammit.
All right, God.
Is that how you make your other shirts? All your other shirts are made from sleeves.
Yes, they are actually.
What do you do with the sleeves?
Don't
Just
worry
like
about
Wayne
it.
said, we're making another shirt.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about it.
All right, Iron Maiden, X Factor. I actually like the album. I don't love the album.
X Factor. We're talking
Virtual
about
11.
Right.
wrong,
That
wrong
album
show.
sucks. No, I'm just kidding.
I agree, Benny.
No, I actually like Virtual 10 or whatever the hell it's supposed to be called.
11.
I do agree with James, though. The songs are way, way, way too long. Angel and the Gambler is a perfect example of that. There is no reason for that song to be 9 minutes long. That's ridiculous.
Yes, there is. He has to repeat that line over and over again. Otherwise, he'd have to shorten the song.
22
Yeah,
times.
I don't know, like 5 minutes. You know, there's an actual promo video where the song is 4 minutes and something,
Yeah.
and it works. It
Yeah.
works.
Of course, it
No
does, 'cause
shit,
it
because
makes
he
sense.
took out fucking 22 lines of dialogue.
It's the same dialogue, James. Do you think I'm your savior? Whatever. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
Klansman is the best song on here, but to be honest, I didn't notice how great of a song it was till I heard the live version. Truthfully, it just kind of passed me. I like the production on the album better, but I don't think the songs are as good as the previous album. Again, Blaze sounds like he's getting comfortable on the role finally, which is ironic because he's about to get the boot. Overall, good album, not a great album. And probably the second worst Iron Maiden album in the discography. That being said, I like it. It's a strong discography, in my opinion. I'm a bigger Judas Priest fan, but Demolition is just. Anyway, Lou, take it away.
Go ahead, Lou.
All right, I'll let James save the best for last. So James goes last because I can't wait to hear what he has to say about it. So I will say though that the 2015 remaster of this album is a definite improvement over the 1998 recording.
So and I'll admit that's what I listened to. So I don't know how shitty it was prior.
It was
The songs are
I
still
mean,
the same.
I mean,
Unfortunately,
the songs are still the same, but the way that this remaster was done was definite improvement. But the guitars still sound like they were plugged through a 30-watt solid state amp. I mean, again, I still have a problem with the way the guitars sound. It's just weak, and Maiden's not about weak guitars. You know, I mean, they're
they're about repetitive riffs.
Thankfully, Adrian comes back in the next album. Future Real, a great opening track, and to me, solid, whether it's sung by Blaze or Bruce. Angel and the Gambler. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No, and no. And that's for each time that line is sung.
How many times again, Lou?
22.
You sick fuck.
And he just ran out of lyrics. I mean, what happened?
Yes, obviously. He learned out lyrics 9 albums ago.
I mean, that's just lazy. That's just lazy songwriting. And you could call it progressive all you want. Some progressive is shit. It really is. This being a prime example.
Not progressive. Progressive, I could give you the Klansman, Future Real, even the last track on the album. But Angel and the Gambler, I like the song. Well, until we get to after the 5-minute mark, then I've checked out. You know,
Andrew Peters says Future Real sounds like Ewoks playing guitars.
You know, it's funny though because To me, the verse riff of Future Real actually sounds like what will become the opening song on the next album, which at the same
I
time
agree.
is still a ripoff of Running Wild from Judas Priest.
Right.
But I digress. Lightning Strikes Twice, my favorite song on the album. The Klansman, another great track, whether sung by Bruce or Blaze, and by Bruce or Blaze. And having been able to say that I saw Maiden play this live, you can't help but get into it. When Two Worlds Collide, to me, this is the album Dark Horse. I actually think this is a solid track. Educated Fool and Don't Look to the Eyes of a Stranger really don't do anything for me. To me, they're just shooting blanks. Como Está Amigo? This reminds me a little bit of Walk the Stage by Michael Schenker Group. And I have to admit, it's a better album closer than what we were given on No Prayer and X Factor. So it's another good track in my opinion. Overall, I think the album is a step up from X Factor. I like 6 out of the 8 tracks on this record, so that means I like 75% of the record. X Factor, I only liked 6 out of 11 songs. That was 55%. So to me, it's a definite improvement. Wayne, I agree with you. Blaze's voice actually sounds more fitting. Surprisingly, they didn't have to lower their tuning because they actually were able to tap into Blaze's range and still sound good in standard tuning. You know, and definitely a lot less pitchy. So yeah, I mean, X Factor, with the exception of some of the songs that I mentioned, yeah, it's a definite improvement. And that's really the nicest compliment I could give it.
Very interesting. All right, James, go ahead.
All right, here.
Wait,
Unless you want me to
All
read,
right.
you want me
You
to
ready
read
for
Greg
this?
first? You want me to read
Yeah,
Greg first?
yeah, read Greg. Yeah, because this is gonna get rough real fast.
Let's see if I lost it. It's here somewhere. Virtual 11, more upbeat than X Factor, but songwriting is lifeless and boring for the most part. Overall, not necessarily terrible, but pretty unmemorable for Iron Maiden and lacking in energy. Rating 4 out of 10. Best tunes: Future Real, Klansman, When Two Worlds Collide. All right, go ahead, James.
All right, so I'm gonna preface this with, when I was listening to the Klansman, I wrote a line saying, "Look, we all like Braveheart. Please, for the love of God, be the subject matter." There is another book called The Klansman, and they talk a lot about freedom, but we should not be referring to that book ever. And I do mean ever. So I was very happy to research that was about Braveheart. For the love of God, I was so happy about that.
Are you
So-
afraid that it was about a certain white hooded type person?
Organization, yes. Also was a subject of a full-length motion picture in the 1910s.
Yeah, Birth of
Um,
a Nation. Yeah,
Yes,
directed
Birth of a
by,
Nation. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's funny because Bruce actually does give a disclaimer before the song. This has nothing to do with men in white hoods. So
Yeah. I was hoping for that, because like as soon as I listened to it, I was like, please, for the love of God, please let this be about the plan. Anyway, all right. So all right, now that we're out of that. Okay. Future Real. Classic sound of theirs, one of their better songs, I thought. I actually liked the song. So I did like one song from this album.
Ooh.
The Angel and the Gambler. Song sucks. Lyrics started okay, but it goes downhill fast. Lightning Strikes Twice. All I could think of, Tenacious D would make a better song of this. Just the way it sounded. Klansman. Look, we all love Braveheart. Please, for the love of God, be the subject matter. The lyrics are really bad. And the epidemic of repeating one word and phrase needs to stop. Unfortunately, it keeps going. Two Worlds Collide. Nurse, please add slow opening to the diagnosis of a bad Iron Maiden song. Also, do they know that the title does not need to be in the chorus, right? Educator's Fool. It's fucking drivel. Don't Look at the Eyes of a Stranger. Shit, make the entire song the title. Just fuck it. Do the whole damn title of the song. And Como Estas, Amigos? Thank God it's over for another week. This fucking album.
No more tears, James. No more tears.
Yeah, I pounded it as I break my fucking camera. Launch this fucking album in the sun bury it with the Ark of the Covenant and never let it see the light of day again. This album fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I
God
just can't-
bless it.
I just can't believe they played Angel and the Gambler on that tour. You know,
Why? He thought
There
that
is
was gonna
no
be,
way they
he
played
thought-
that for
no,
9
no, no,
minutes.
no.
They did.
Owens thought, or no, sorry,
What?
the main guy, the guy who runs all the does all the thing. I don't know the names of the albums. I really don't give a shit of the members.
Eddie.
Yeah, and freaking, he thought that was supposed to be the lead tune, the opening tune for on a music video instead of Future Real.
He did.
Yeah, was that the first single, Lou?
Yeah, he wanted the first single to be the Angel and the Gambler, not Future Real.
Well, I know it was a single, but was that the first single, Lou? Do you know?
It was, he wanted it to be. It turned out to be the second.
Wait a
single.
minute. Who wanted Angel and the Gambler to be the first?
The whoever does
Steve
all the lyrics and
Harris?
shit. Yeah, Steve Harris.
Steve. Yes.
Wow. Okay, then he was definitely missing the plot at that point. It's possible that he did. I think he was really confident that it was basically his homage to the Who, but there's a reason why the Who sounded the way they did, and that's because Pete Townsend is a fucking genius. And when you have a bassist like John Entwistle and a drummer like Keith Moon and a singer like Roger Daltrey, you can make any shitty song sound amazing. Don't
Well,
try to do what they did. No way, you can't do it.
It was fucking terrible. Once again, they repeat. I mean, I understand this is Iron Maiden. They're going to repeat the same riff over and over. I get that. I've come to grips with this reality that's what I'm going to deal with every time I crack open these albums. Okay. And I am not listening to these songs ever. I've already told you which songs I've listened to. I'm not listening to these songs. It is, but when you start repeating lyrics now,
Yeah,
it is a fucking problem here. And nobody should say, at least you can shit on Demolition all you want. At least they're trying something different. This is
I will
just
give you that, James.
this is
I'll
just
give you-
shit. I do mean this. I'm trying to be nice. Like I said, I'm trying to be objective. I thought Future Real's a good song. I think they should keep playing that. Absolutely. Klansman, it's a good song, but yelling freedom as your main chorus is, I mean, once again, we're getting into repeated chorus again.
But again, in a live context, Klansman works perfect.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
I would.
understand
Yeah,
that.
but I get that. But I like the studio version. Live, they kill it. But that's a whole different environment, Lou.
Yeah, that's a live album. Absolutely. I mean, that's a
Yeah,
completely
yeah.
different thing. You're getting with the crowd and everything. I can get that. You can make any good song, or you can make any bad song be great live.
Well,
But-
what I found interesting about your review, James, not so much Iron Maiden, I knew you were going to tear it apart, was Judas Priest. Because again, you're looking at it from a different angle than I am. I'm looking at it as a person who's been a fan since I was 12 years old. You're coming into Judas Priest brand new. You don't have a prior history, you know.
Yes.
So for them to do stuff that, let's face it, was influenced by Fear Factory, all the new metal stuff, there's no way around that. They didn't invent that style.
No, of course not.
But that you were able to listen to it with fresh ears and enjoy it, where I listen to it and I think it's terrible. And I do wonder if it's because I have a prejudice to what I think Judas Priest should be. I mean, Judas Priest have always changed their sound. You've got to give them that. They definitely aren't AC/DC or an Iron Maiden. They change their sound all the time and their style. But this album I thought was a little jarring. Lyrically, you know, I know they're not Shakespeare, but they were pretty bad. But again, I'm not putting that on Ripper Owens, and nobody's going to listen to a Judas Priest album to, you know, hear poetry anyway. But
I mean, outside of a few Rob Halford songs, yeah.
yeah, well, Rob Halford's a good lyricist. But anyway, go ahead, Lou.
Timeline is everything. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
also
only
this
thing
is,
it really comes
and
down
this
to.
is 98. If this was their like young period, this is their 11th fucking album. And you produce this out of everything. You talk up all this good game about how you're going, you're doing this, doing that, and you come out with this shit. I know I want to say, like, there's a saying, put it back in the oven and it ain't done yet. Leave it in the oven. Leave that thing in the oven, let it die. I mean, honestly, this album, I have that strong a feeling with it. You could have moved Future Real and a couple of other songs to another album, and it'd probably make those albums even better and stronger. This album sucks.
Have you
I
had
will
one
s-
Maiden album yet?
Yeah,
Was that?
You like
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I've
Number
liked a couple.
Six.
I actually put a couple of them over
Okay.
Judas Priest.
I knew you did. All right.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
I'm not gonna completely shit on it just because it's Iron Maiden. I'm shitting on it because it's a bad album.
Wayne and
It's-
Lou, do you
it-
think it would have benefited if they had hired a producer?
I think Maiden would it would always benefit them if they hired a producer on the caliber of Martin Birch who could help them edit what they were
Mhm.
doing. Certain songs that were up to the 10-minute mark or past the 10-minute mark during the era where Martin Birch produced in that 10 years, it worked. To me, it's like, and I don't agree with the statement more is more. You know, I mean, I love the guitarist who coined that phrase, but I don't agree with him.
Mr. Ingbe?
Yes, I believe you can say less with more. It doesn't need to be stretched out to 22 repeats of a chorus in a song. Because by then it's like you didn't grow impact. You've relegated it to flaccidness. I mean, it's really what it is. For example, the first song that I contributed for the Severed Angel record, Dogs of War, that was longer than what you're going to hear on the record. Wayne recommended, why don't you take this part out and it'll be a stronger song. Now, I admit I was a bit hesitant at first, but then when he showed me the edit of my original demo and I heard it, I said, you know what? That does work better. Being able to self-edit and being self-aware to the fact that it doesn't need to be long drawn and stretched out is a good thing. And I'll leave it at that because we're going to get into well, because hold on, I was going to say because we're going to get to a point with future Maiden records where you just want the fucking song to end. It's going to happen. It really will.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, James. That's your question.
They get to love long songs.
Do you think that Iron Maiden would have benefited if someone other than Steve Harris had complete control?
Oof.
No. And you know, it's kind of hard to fathom the idea that Dave Murray's been in the band as long as Steve Harris has. Well, maybe not. He did get the sack back in the 70s because of their former lead singer, Dennis Wilcock. But then when Dennis quit, Steve got Dave back. Now, you figured that when a band signs a contract, that the original members that are still with the band to the present day, they're not paid a salary, they're partners. So I don't know how Maiden has it broken up, but I would think if anything, Dave Murray being a senior member of Maiden along with Harris, shouldn't he get a say? I mean, he's been in the band as long as he has, recording wise. You know, I would like to think he has a say, but I don't think he does. But that being said, I have to give credit to Steve. His vision, his drive kept the band alive. You know, and if he wasn't a smart businessman and a smart person when it came to marketing, I mean, hell, a lot of fans buy Maiden t-shirts just because of the design of the shirt without even hearing the band's records. Ask the Kardashians.
No,
I know,
we're not starting that.
I kind of hate.
No, I hate the Kardashians too, but I have to give Steve credit. It is his brainchild.
I get that, but there's also a level of emotional maturity where you can take criticism and be able to work through it.
Or you could be at the staging point where you don't care, which is where he's at right now.
I understand that, but was he at this point when it came to this album?
Oh, they were struggling. I mean, that's why when Bruce came back into the band, they sold their publishing for like $20 million and they all got rich. So like, even if they never played, they still got paid. So now if they're going on tour, it's just another bigger payday for them. So they're really at the point where they don't have to care. They're releasing albums for their own purposes. No other reason.
but when a leader sometimes gives up their power, Tony Iommi, he held artistic vice grip to that band from the beginning. That's not saying he didn't collaborate. He collaborated with Dio equally.
Mhm.
He collaborated with Geezer Butler. But when it came to the album 13, and Iommi was struggling with cancer, he did something he had never done in his career. He gave up a lot of creative control to Ozzy and Rick Rubin because he was struggling. And in my opinion, the album suffered because of it. Because I'm not, because Tony Iommi is Black Sabbath. In some ways, Steve Harris is Iron Maiden. It's not saying the other members don't equate or don't equal, but or contribute. But I think I think that's a perfect example of, in my opinion, an album that suffered because the leader of the band, who in reality probably shouldn't have been recording, he should have been taking care of his cancer, at that time, gave up quite a bit of control. I think that's why the album is such a mixed feeling. On this one,
but I'm not talking about giving up control. I'm talking about being able to take criticism and being able to use it in a constructive way.
Yeah, I get that, but I guess Steve Harris feels that I've taken the band this far for this many decades, at this point, 2 decades, and he might not be inclined to listen to anybody because he might say, well, me not listening to somebody is what got us to this point to begin with. I'm not saying I disagree with you, James. Also at this, I think this is the point where, and Lou and Wayne and James, you can speak on this. He's always been influenced by progressive rock. Talk about Genesis, King Crimson, Jethro Tull. I'm not sure if he's influenced by Yes or not, but these bands that wrote these long compositions, and I think he was starting to experiment with these long compositions. He just didn't quite get the hang of it, which in the next 3 albums we were going to debate whether he did or not. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is that part of why these songs are so long?
Yes, you nailed it on the head. He admitted it.
Yep.
Steve Harris admitted it. And
Yeah.
again, pertaining to the whole, Steve control of the band, constructive criticism, he doesn't have to take it because he knows that no matter what, Maiden fans of old are still going to come to hear the old songs, and they'll sit through the new songs to hear the old songs.
But that's not showing emotional intelligence. That's just being tyrannical.
Well, does he really have to? Does he have to show emotional intelligence?
Yeah, I believe that it would be a positive thing for the band, and actually it would progress them, which is what the point of progressive rock is.
I'm not going to disagree with that, but I again, and I'm not defending his choices. I'm just saying an obvious fact. He doesn't have to give a shit at this point.
I understand he doesn't have to, but that's the
should he? Maybe.
Yes.
Should he? Yes. I would like to. I would agree with you. If I was in his position, which I'm not, but if I was, I would show more cognizance towards songwriting and not be over bloated with parts that don't need to be in there.
Well, I also think that without Bruce Dickinson there, another alpha male, another leader, he kind of got to go his own way. I can't imagine Bruce Dickinson saying, I'm going to sing Angel and the Gambler. Do you want to save your 22 times? That's my opinion. I think Bruce Dickinson kind of brings him down to earth because he's not a yes man. I'm not saying Dave Murray's a yes man, by the way. Far from it.
But I agree with your statement because that's why Bruce quit the first time.
Yeah.
And there's difference between, and I really hate using the word alpha and beta and all that stuff.
Well, yeah,
there is the follower mentality and there's the leader mentality, and some people work better being in following mentalities and some people be better in leading mentalities.
Well, I brought up Tony Iommi earlier, and Tony Iommi is definitely a leader, but he doesn't stand around and saying I'm a leader.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, real leaders don't have to do that.
There's a reason for that, and her name is Sharon Osbourne. Listen, the only reason why that went to court was because Sharon demanded that Ozzy get 50% of the name from Tony Iommi, because to her, she paid a shit ton of lawyers to convince the judge and the jury that, yes, Iommi kept the name going in the 80s, but that was when they were at a downfall in their career. It wasn't until Ozzy was in the band and when he returned to the band that Sabbath became important. So by that logic alone, the name should be split 50-50 Iommi Osborne, which I think is a crock of bullshit.
See,
That just goes to show the fucking justice system doesn't work because they didn't recognize Ronnie James Dio.
Hey, Greg.
Well, hey, Greg. Well, not only that, what people forget is during the Tony Martin era, in the United States, that band couldn't get arrested, but internationally, Black Sabbath with Tony Martin did very well, and people forget that because as soon as Dio and Ozzy came back, it wasn't. Sharon didn't do this. Iommi buried the history of with Tony Martin for a lot of years. That wasn't Sharon Osbourne. As far as Sharon demanding 50%, that is true. Why Iommi agreed to it was probably because he just wanted to put the name to rest, is my guess, but I don't know, So, but my point is about that is that, Iommi is a leader, but he doesn't have to tell you're a leader. Now, again, I haven't brought him up on this show. What a miracle, but I'll do it now.
Alice Cooper.
Yeah, he's a solo artist, but he's also a leader, but he doesn't go around acting like a leader, even though, he's the boss, So there's other ways to run a band. Anyway. And there you go. Alice Cooper mentioned per episode,
Greg can answer a good objective perspective on this. Greg, James posed the question to me, with Steve Harris being at the helm of Maiden, James, I'm sorry, could you repeat the question exactly? Because I don't want to misquote you.
So no, you're fine. Would you believe that Iron Maiden would be better with these albums if Steve Harris had the emotional intelligence to take constructive criticism better?
Yes.
Thanks. Thanks for the explanation there, Greg.
Next week on Salad Review.
He really did truly need more input. And actually, you guys were talking about Bruce when I first popped on, and there's a perfect example right there. Adrian and Nico had gone off and they jammed some of those songs and kind of started to get a feel for the album and the synths and shit, doing the entire Population of Hackney thing, which is how a lot of the bass ideas for Somewhere in Time came about. Steve really liked it, thought it was moving forward. Bruce wanted to do like acoustic shit, like their Physical Graffiti, he thought it should be. And they all were like, no way. You're completely so. Using that example, someone should have been able to tell Steve that with both the X Factor and Virtual 11, but definitely Virtual 11. Even though Nico and Dave had been around forever, I think they just accept the dynamic where he's the boss. And honestly, once in a while, he needs to be challenged. I mean, his vision and everything, and a large part of his songwriting skills really took them through the first 5 or 6 records and put them on top of the world. But he, starting with No Prayer for the Dying, he really started to take more control, if you will, over the band, it seems like. And I really think it hurt them throughout the 90s. And when Bruce comes back along with Adrian on Brave New World, it was more of a committee, so to speak, again. And it helps volumes with the songwriting.
And here's my, and Lou answered, I think, Wayne, but your take. And this is the first album not including Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. And what was the other long song that I can't remember now that they wrote prior
Alexander
to this?
the Great.
Thank you. I couldn't remember. But do you, in my opinion, this is where Steve Harris is definitely trying to incorporate his prog influences into the songwriting. And he hasn't quite got the hang of it because the songs are just long. They're not really a lot of signature time changes and whatever that you would hear on the latter albums, which James will totally hate. But
I love Tool and I love time changes. Do not
no.
mean
talking about time changes. I'm talking about Iron Maiden specifically. You're not going to probably like those long songs.
Oh yeah.
So, but I don't know. Do you think I'm right that this is where Steve Harris started to try to flex his prog rock muscles influence on the songwriting?
I think he started to do it on the previous record.
I agree
but
with that.
really took more of a hold here. And again, he needed someone to say, "Hey, Steve, shut the fuck up and let's change this riff up a little bit," because it's just that constant, monotonous, same fucking bass riff in The Angel and the Gambler.
22 times.
I counted
Dude, you could cut 4.5
21 times.
song.
They did. There's a promo video, Greg, where it's like 4.5 minutes. Like you
Still not a good song.
It's
Well, I'm not saying it's a great
Yeah,
song. It's catchy, but it's better at 4.5 minutes than 9 minutes. So,
oh yeah.
yeah.
Wayne, what's your opinion?
About what? I zoned out. What are we
No,
talking about?
typical.
Well, emotional intelligence meets the physical intelligence.
I mean, do you agree with
the immovable force is
Rain,
the
I'm not
unstoppable object?
do you agree with us that Steve Harris could afford to have some constructive criticism and take some emotional intelligence when it comes to the length and output of Iron Maiden
Yes.
songs?
Hit subscribe to Rat Salad Review, ratsaladreview.com, and we'll see you next week.
Wait, we didn't give our numbers.
Oh, who cares?
Well,
You started talking
All right,
about Black
Ted
Sabbath.
Turner.
Black Sabbath rules.
Bored the
Anyway,
shit out of me.
What?
After people, we had
actually,
20 people in
wait,
this
wait,
chat,
wait.
and they're all gone.
Wait. But before I forget again, we were talking about Sabbath with the success and all that.
All right, I'm going to go back. Again.
Interesting fact: their highest charting album ever in the UK charts was actually "Born Again."
there you go.
Very interesting. Let me go in the chat room. I haven't said anything in there. Andrew Peters listening. He said, in either case, both of these albums are kind of low points for both bands. Can't wait till next review with much better albums. Me
agreed.
neither.
He's
Mhm.
right. He's right.
Yep, that'll be a
He
lot of
also
fun.
says Iron Maiden writes stadium anthems for a world audience, not just an American audience that wants singles. That is a good point.
That's an excellent point.
Yes, and it is a good point, but I admit I love it when they did the more progressive shit and the longer songs before. He just doesn't have enough help, especially with the melodies on
It
this.
just doesn't need to be more than like 2 songs that are really long, That they don't
He
need.
needs
Not,
to, he
not
needs to
every
stop,
song in the
he
album.
needs
needs
to
be
stop
epic.
repeating lyrics when he gets bored.
That too.
Well,
that's not good.
Leo says
First-
Harris knows he needs Bruce to make it theatrical, or you get Virtual 11.
There, you got it. See, this guy gets it.
I have a hard
That
time.
guy gets it.
I have a hard time disagreeing with that. So
Yeah, I really can't. Blaze is very faceless on this one.
Yeah,
But what I was going to say was not even so much Bruce, because honestly, I think if Blaze had the freedom to free himself up a little bit, he could have done this a lot better. But especially with Adrian back and just them working together, the Klansman live since he's been back is fucking awesome. I mean, it's a good song on the album, but everything on this, sorry to say it, is slightly mediocre by the way it's
Slightly
played.
mediocre. It fucking sucks.
No,
James
dude, I
hates it.
really like the Klansman and Future Real. Those are
Yeah,
two
those are the
really
two.
good
Okay,
songs.
outside
Yeah,
of those
those
two
are good.
songs. Outside
What I
of
was
those two
gonna
songs.
say is though both Tim Owens and Blaze get the blame for these albums, and I think they get it unfairly. They didn't have any creative control. Blaze got a little bit of creative control. Well, no, he got no creative control. A little bit of say, but not by much. And I think both men get a lot of blame that is undeserved.
Yeah, it's
You know.
not,
No,
none of them.
it's not. And I will also say that is, including the 2 live albums in it, Demolition is actually, I think, Ripper's best vocal performance while he was in Judas Priest, which is unfortunate because, I mean, the thing's banned by the Constitution, man. There's no cruel and unusual punishment. It's
No,
just
that's listening to Angel and the Gambler.
Angel and the
And-
Gambler, Lost and Found, Machine Man.
Actually, I'm going to go out and flat out say it. I think Ripper's best performance was the 98 Live Meltdown. And that
Well,
album came out the same year as Virtual 11.
I think he's got more heart in his voice on. Although I haven't listened to 98 Live Meltdown in a long time, you might be right, but at least from Jugulator, it's a huge improvement.
I've seen Tim Owens when he was in Yngwie Malmsteen. I've got the 2 live albums Judas Priest did. One of them was recorded for DVD live in London. As a live performer, he's phenomenal. Blaze actually is a live performer with Iron Maiden's pretty good. He struggles with the Bruce Dickinson songs, but he's pretty good. Unfortunately, that didn't translate to these studio albums, and I think the shame is that both bands should have given their singer a little bit more say, and that probably would have made better albums. That's my take on it.
Well, I know one album that's going to be better than both albums, and that's the debut release from Severed Angel.
We gotta stop with that.
I'm going to shill for us.
Andrew Peters says he thinks Kevin Shirley is in cahoots with Stephen Harris for making long songs.
He's right.
He's right. He's right.
Oh, Greg. Oh, Greg.
Hey!
All right. Hey, he's okay, folks.
Well, he fainted with that statement.
Okay, numbers.
All right,
What's
numbers,
everyone's
all right,
rating?
Hold on, I gotta get
Bring it home.
everybody's,
Take it home.
Take it home. Hold on a minute. I gotta find mine. All right. Lou. For demolition.
3.
Wow. James.
5.
Manny.
1.
Greg.
0.
0. Wow.
I have never. Sorry.
What? Go ahead.
I have never been so pissed off and frustrated with the release by a band I love more than with Demolition.
Really? Cold Lake was an improvement?
I actually have to agree with
Cold Lake wasn't an improvement. However, Cold Lake, even though, yes, I agree with Tom that it's the worst he could have ever done at the time. And it really isn't a good record overall, even though there are some cool riffs and shit to it. But anyway, I can give more respect and understand more. He was getting married around that time and all that, and kind of where his head was, and he wasn't really in it as far as Celtic Frost goes all the time. He gave up a little bit too much control, but he was kind of in that, happy little honeymoon type phase and went along with what they were doing. Was it the right thing to do? No, but at least he believed in it. Now, you have a band that's been around for a long time. We're very disappointed by the sales of the previous album and some of the light criticism they got. Took a newer style that had just come out, elements of shit from their past, tried to throw it together to make everybody happy, and wrote the most awful set of songs they could have ever done. I mean, this makes fucking Turbo look like a Grammy winner. Their shit go together, and some of it just falls apart.
What do you give it, Wayne?
I give it a what did I give it? A 5.
What?
Okay.
Drunk?
I gave it a 5. No, I did like some of the songs. I mentioned, you weren't here when I was talking about it.
That's I'm glad. I would have vomited. Anyway, go ahead.
But I kind of felt the same way James did. I didn't mind it too much. Virtual 11. Lou.
I'll give it a 6.
James.
1.
Manny.
6.
Greg.
I give it a 2 for the 2 songs I like, but this album is a train wreck. Actually, wait, what did I give No Prayer for the Dying? A 3? Yeah, I got to give it a 3 because that's their worst, and this is even with it.
All right. And I'm actually going to give it an 8 because I actually do like this album. So
You're fucking deaf.
no, I just like,
I like
good
it
albums.
too, but I don't love it.
You're
No.
deaf.
But thankfully, this album did win. Virtual 11.
Shouldn't have. It shouldn't have. It should have fucking. It should never be played again. It should be locked with the Ark Covenant.
It won.
It should be
It's
locked
like-
with top men. Top
The reason it-
men.
The reason it won is because you had a choice between a kick in the balls or setting your hair on fire. That's the only.
No, it was a thing about getting stabbed and getting kicked in the balls. Which one do you want to do?
Yeah,
Set
exactly.
fire to your face and have the fire department put it out with an axe.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, pretty
it's
much. Greg,
yeah.
Greg, I'll be real honest with you. I hate it this week. You better. It's only going to get worse, I'm afraid.
No, the next 2 are much better. Brave New World's actually one of my favorite Maiden albums. But Angel of Retribution isn't bad. It has its flaws, but they're
Excellent.
writing honestly again. One thing I will say though, speaking of that Live in London album and DVD, there are a couple of songs on here like Hell is Home, and is it Metal Machine or Machine Man? It's
Machine Man.
Machine
isn't it?
Man. Metal
Machine
Messiah
Man.
is the other one.
that they. What's that, Lou?
Metal
Metal
Messiah
Messiah.
is the other one, the one where Tim Ripper raps.
Yeah,
Tim Rapper
that's
Owens.
not the one I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
Tim Rapper Owens.
Owens. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that was more limp
I
than a
need some
bit.
whiskey. Anyway, go ahead.
They did them better in a live setting. You know, I think out of this patchwork, let's try to make a hit studio environment where they were able to rehearse the stuff for tour. They made it sound like them a little bit better.
Yeah.
And so some of the songs can be good, but in the context of the record, they just totally lost the plot here.
Well, Maiden is still winning. I don't know if Judas Priest is going to end up winning or getting close by the time we finish this.
They might, because I love Judas Priest more than Iron Maiden.
Yeah,
You're saying that, but you keep voting in the other band there,
Yeah.
Manny.
No, I
Well,
voted
I thought-
Judas Priest most of the time. I just couldn't do it this time.
You can give honest criticism for a band you love and not have them win. I mean, that's a personal opinion, but we're talking facts here.
Yeah, this is
Yeah, the fact is
Science.
that Iron Maiden album fucking sucks.
Shut the fuck
facts
up,
is
Donnie.
that-
You're out of your element.
Shut the, this isn't Nom, Greg. There are rules.
This is what you get. This is what you get when you
Fucking
fuck someone
mark
in
it
the ass.
zero.
The fact is, James, that when we get to Alice Cooper, you're going to be a bigger fan of him and the band than you were before. That is a fact. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Lou, you got anything going on? Your podcast?
I'm finally wrapping up part 2 of my interview with Mike Brandvold. So that'll be out soon. Now that the recording for Severed Angel is over, yes, I'm going to keep plugging that band. Algorithm.
Actually,
22.
we just released a video last Friday.
Yes, we did.
And Greg actually likes a ghost song.
I don't know if did Greg watch it? Oh, he's on mute.
Greg did say he watched it. He said it was better than a ghost song.
Interesting, because it wasn't.
But yeah,
You should put a link
he's in
to it
discussion.
underneath the,
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate that. I mean, I actually can't listen to the Ghost version anymore. I can only listen to ours.
It's much better, especially that the guitar parts that Alex was talking about. That was really cool, man.
My people,
but-
thank you.
Don't let it go to your head.
Too
It's
late.
already large enough.
You can either
They
go to the.
actually made
what?
me like a ghost song. I'm
Wow.
not sure if I should shake his hand or break Wayne's snares over.
I think we just gave it the right, what it needed. It gave it the chef's kiss. We just try to improve it. But yes,
And you
our
can-
first
but,
music.
all right, go ahead.
Our first music video for our cover of Square Hammer, the Ghost song, is out on the official Severed Angel YouTube page. It's also on the Ratsa Review YouTube page. Like, subscribe. We appreciate the support. Album, we don't know when it will be out, but we do know that it's done, and the artwork looks great.
Yeah, sure.
show.
No, we can't show the artwork.
I'm not showing nothing. You guys get nothing.
You wait.
And you like it.
But
Nothing
also,
and like it.
but also, again, the 1,000th subscriber to Ratsa Review gets this autographed copy of me and Wayne and our cover of the Def Leppard song "On Through the Night," which is now on this beautiful CD. So
Manny's Alice Cooper tribute album with a karaoke machine will get distributed faster before you get than that one was.
the significance of that statement, Greg, is because Jim Crean, the guy who was supposed to be Vinnie Vincent's singer when he did his Nashville show, he's got 2 songs on this. And when I listen to the songs, I'm like, wait a minute. He's singing over karaoke versions of like the original Def Leppard tracks. I thought that was ridiculous.
Great.
No way. That's great. I don't have to hire a band. You guys are great.
It's gold, Jerry. It's gold.
Yeah. Imagine me having to put up with a drummer like Wayne. Now, all I have to do is just, karaoke.
Oh shit! Just use a drum machine. It sounds just like Wayne anyway.
And our bassist George is watching now too. He's on
Yes,
the chat.
George is here.
Wayne is the Beverly Hills Cop 2 of drummers. Which
Better
has
than
been
Naked Gun
called
33
the
the
world's
third.
most okayest movie. So
And good other news for Outside Review. Lisa Mann will be making her return to
Yes, the Crone will
show.
be back.
her new band, Splintered Throne. Right?
Boy, why don't you
Yes.
just take over the show?
What's that?
Just take over the show.
I'm
It'd be
sorry. Go
much
ahead.
better that way.
I was getting to that.
Okay, go
But
ahead.
Go ahead,
Sorry.
continue.
Go
No,
ahead.
I'm done. I'm done.
No,
I'm done.
go ahead, Wayne.
Go ahead. Wayne.
Yes. What month are we in? September, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, September
September
28th.
Yeah, we're in
November.
September because October is I know when October is going down.
Yeah, so September 28th, Lisa Mann and her band Splintered Throne will be on the show. Be on this episode. We won't be doing Iron Maiden that week. And actually, maybe next week we might not be doing Iron Maiden either, because I think maybe, I'm not sure yet, but Troy, KK Foster from the band Them might be joining us. If not, then we'll be doing a Maiden show. But stay tuned. You should join us anyway, even if you don't know who Them is. Watch it anyway, because Troy is a very cool guy, and Them is
for
a very
fans
awesome
of
band.
Cold Steel,
Fans of
since
Cold
most
Steel.
people
Yeah.
out there love retro thrash so much, it's the same Mr. Troy North.
And that's right. That is right.
Funny
there's
story
something
about
else.
Troy. Funny story about Troy. When I went
Go
to the Holy Mother show at Stereo Garden in Patchogue last year, Troy comes up to me as I'm helping out Holy Mother with their merchandise. And he goes, "You're the guy who replaced me." I'm like, "Who the hell are you?" And I didn't realize it was Troy Nor.
So you
That's
know what
Troy.
we're doing good here because with the death of the Queen of England last night, it's great that we're doing an Irish goodbye.
Yeah.
They should give her a Viking funeral, give a whole new meaning to look at that flaming queen.
Oh boy. Well, I also have some really cool interviews coming up.
Wayne, what do you got? Plug.
I got some interviews. Armageddon will be this Friday. Another band called Vante. I just did an interview with the vocalist. That will be in a few weeks. Another band I'm doing after this show, Anubis. There'll be a few weeks. Oh, good. And we have
the Egyptian god of death.
yes, I think they'll be on 69mega.com. Stop watching the stream. Find love. It's in the.
I
chat.
believe
That's
that
good
might be
advice.
porn.
It
That's
might be
good
porn.
advice.
Yeah, don't click any links. And then tomorrow morning, I'm doing an
We forgot to
interview.
mention, no Unitarians, get out of the chat.
No,
You're doing an interview tomorrow morning with whom,
tomorrow
Wayne?
morning with PV Wagner from the band Rage.
Oh, cool.
So that'll be a lot of fun. Actually, I've been trying to get him on this show for like the past 2 years. The first time my son was sick, and I had to try
I
to.
remember that.
Yeah, and I tried to schedule that interview a few times, and it never got to happen. Never happened. So tomorrow's the day, finally. James, what's going on in your podcast?
So the Know How to podcast, we're actually going to be starting to do a morning college football preview of that week's action. Now we've got a lot of fun games this weekend, but also going to be talking about last week with 3 Fun Belt, or AKA the Sun Belt Conference lower level schools beating the big Power 5 schools. So we'll be talking about that. And also Nebraska firing their coach and maybe bringing in Urban Meyer from Florida.
Sounds very exciting. And Manny, how about your friends? Any podcasting going on here?
It's her chin up, tits out. 4th episode comes. Are they 4th, 5th? I don't know, but I think it's the 4th or 5th episode comes out the beginning of next week. Again, female centric, but worth listening to. Very funny, and these ladies are great together. So hopefully you guys give it a listen.
Know your enemies.
Go
Crush
listen to those.
See them driven before you, then love the lamentations of their women.
Yes.
All right. Go listen to those podcasts. Hit subscribe to every single one of them, even ours. And we will see you guys next week. Tulu.
Demone.
Yeah, hit the friggin' button.
Hit the button, god damn it.
God damn it.
Oh, I
Yeah.
hit the button.
Yeah, do your job, Wayne.
Sorry.
Damn it, Beavis.
He's about as active as he was as a drummer in the Square Hammer video.